We're here to talk about the Model 210 solar light, which was originally designed for the sides of coal cars, rail cars, when they're parked out in like a coal mine, a pit mine. At night, when those cars are parked, because they're black and it's very light absorbing with the coal dust, you can't see them. So they had people actually reportedly driving into the side of the coal cars. The trains parked out in the mines. So it was originally designed for that application, but we found a lot of other applications and a real simple way to mount it. So if you picture a rail car having 1/2-inch plate steel, screwing some holes to put on a couple of nuts and a bolt is not going to be reasonable to do that on 150 coal cars. So we came up with a solution that allows you to use a epoxy type material. It's called Click Bond. And there's all kinds of videos on YouTube. Even Kubota uses it for attaching lights to their arms on their wheel loaders. Again, the company's called Click Bond, and what it is a two-part epoxy. We offer a solar kit with the Click Bond kit included. So it's a two-part epoxy with a little mixing stick and all that, and instructions in there. And then the key piece of what Click Bond provides is a 3D printed part that holds a flat stud. So it's got a flat surface that will get bonded to the side of the coal car or your forks on your wheel loader or your ROPS on your skid loader or your even forklift, for example. So you mix the two-part epoxy, put that onto the vehicle, and then this piece has two VHB strips that peel off that allow you to stick it to the vehicle, and then you push forward and the stud will come forward to where it makes contact in the epoxy. We'll get a couple of close-up shots of that so you can see what I'm doing there. But then the VHB will hold it in place till the epoxy cures. Once that cures, you pull the whole thing right off, which I don't have enough hand strength, and the stud is left bonded to the surface that you put it on. That then allows you to attach the lamp using the slot mounts we have and the nuts that come in the bag for the kit. So again, Click Bond, and there's lots of videos for installing that. They're very supportive. Robert and I have found shipping epoxy is not always easy. There are Click Bond offices globally that you can order the exact same parts from if it becomes more challenging to ship the Click Bond kits with the lamps. You can just buy the standard lamps and then purchase the Click Bond in your local markets. With regards to the lamps themselves, Greg's got the amber. We've got an amber and a red. We've looked at quoting whites and other colors. Some of the limitations are on the 3M reflective tape and what's available. They have amber, red, white, obviously. LED color can be changed. So the red has the red LED, the amber has the amber. I made some samples for Robert in a white. Again, these are a solar light, so when we ship from JW Speaker, they'll come fully discharged in a black plastic bag. The only reason I bring that up is if you would receive it, play with it as you're looking at it or working with a customer and then try to ship it again, you want to make sure it's discharged. It is a lithium polymer battery. It's not a straight lithium ion, so you don't have to follow the same UN requirements for shipping a lithium ion. But if you do follow that, which is label it properly, don't put it in your check bags, all that kind of fun stuff, you should be fine. You saw it start to flash on me here. We are using the solar panels in the center to collect the energy. That is also what's being used as the photo cell, so that when I cover those up, the solar panels is when the light will actually flash. If you think this looks familiar to what people would call a road flare, those are used on the highways. You'll see them on ramps of the highway sometimes to mark the lanes. The difference with those, we benchmark those, is those project the light out parallel to the surface. So as you're driving on the road, you want to see that light coming at you. So those road flares is what the mines were trying to use, but again, the light comes out on an angle. They wanted the light to come out perpendicular to the surface that it's mounted on, which is what we did with these. So it's direct light from the LEDs. It should come on when I cover it up. Sounds kind of cool, and for the coal cars, it's great, because as soon as it goes dark, they start to flash. The thing I noticed when I was installing these and we were doing some field testing on my house is I had it mounted on a guardrail and it was flashing at night. You can see it about a half mile away. Robert and I have done some testing both in New Zealand and here. But then when Greg approached with his headlights on his car, that turns it off. Well, then the reflective tape kicks in. So just be aware of the fact that if you do have an application, you know, we've used them on generators that are parked out in construction sites, and at night they flash, so you can see where they are. I believe there's some requirements in Australia for road equipment that's parked on the side of the highway to have some kind of lights. In this case, you can have lights without power because they'll turn on at night and flash. When the headlights hit it, they're going to turn off, but then you're going to pick up the reflective tape. Just something to be aware of. They are vented. We've got our normal Gore-Tex patch on the back so the condensation will clear. And they are polycarbonate back and an acrylic top so they don't degrade with the UV. Now, I was concerned about the strength of the polycarb, so Maddie's sitting in the room here with us. We drove my truck over these as well as a forklift. And with the way we've got it designed where the housing supports the lens, they're pretty impervious to damage. I literally drove an F-150 over it. We drove a fork truck over it. The acrylic will hold up, and that way you don't have to worry about the UV light degrading. So again, a lot of applications beyond just the mining that we've seen. Actually, our maintenance guys have installed them on our signage out on our property here because, again, it'll give you a light to indicate where something is at night, guardrails, traffic signs. I actually have them in my mailbox because I live on a county highway and people like to run my mailbox over. But a real simple way to get light out where there is no power. Only, I think it was 10 candela light coming out of it, but I've got them marked on my mailbox and I can see them from a half mile, depending on temperature and humidity. On a clear night, you can see them at least a half mile away. Again, just a simple solution. You know, we've used them on snowmobile trails where they've got a cable indicating the trail is closed. Very easy to get clothesline. People try to hang reflective tape on that. This is an easy way to get some light on it. And with the click bond kits, it's a real clever way to get a stud onto a surface without having to do a lot of drilling of large holes in thick metal plate. It's a simple solution. And in the case of ROPS, you don't want to put holes on the ROPS anyway because they're a safety feature. This way you can put them on there and not have to drill holes in those safety features. So.
Yeah, and battery capacity, so
yep.
It takes approximately, in sunlight, approximately 6 hours to fully charge, and then you have about 120 hours of life after that. So, day to day, you shouldn't have any issues with this running out of juice.
Yeah, our concern was if you were parked on the other side of the train and it was in the shade that you'd have a couple of days worth of run time. So, yeah, as Greg mentioned, 1 day to charge and you get 120 hours of discharge time.